But I want to add the caveat up front. I have watched the mainstream media, who loved having you on about economics, ignore your Senate campaign because they are scared of you. And you have been for abolishing the Federal Reserve. And that's why I like you and support you, and I think you're a great mind. Now, expanding on that, and I know your family going back years has done important work fighting this whole corrupt system. But expanding on that, I think it hurt you 6, 8 months ago, and perhaps now you'd like to fill my listeners in on this, when you said, this is where we think those weapons are. You need to let our inspectors in there. If they don't let us in, we just blow the place up. Speaking about Iran and reported weapon sites. So, I mean, obviously, you don't have to be a carbon copy of Ron Paul for people to support. His son is a bit more hawkish than he is. I would say you're a lot more hawkish from the statements I've seen, but perhaps those are out of context, because people really don't want to have a war with Iran that could lead to World War III. And so people love you on economics and love you on the Bill of Rights and your stance there. A lot of people that were really hot on your campaign, and and they called me wanting me to bash you. I didn't do it. I've been neutral on this because I know you are better than the people that are running against you right now. And so I understand this isn't a perfect world. I mean, I wouldn't be a perfect
the main problem
candidate
that Ron Paul had in the campaign, and I think, again, I think the criticism was not warranted of Ron, but they were like, I love him on the economy, but I just can't vote for him because he's his defense, his national security. So I've got to win a Republican primary, so I can't appear as if I don't want any national defense, okay? And what I said in that one interview, again, and people spun it all out of proportion, they said, the guy gave me a hypothetical question. What if Iran was developing nuclear weapons? What would you do if they had nuclear weapons? I said, well, first I want to verify that they actually have them, all right? I mean, if they have nuclear weapons, we need to find some method of diplomacy to verify if our intelligence is accurate. Is Iran building nuclear weapons? If they are building nuclear weapons, that is something that I, as an American, take as a serious threat. I do not think that we should allow Iran to build nuclear weapons. And what I said is, if diplomacy fails and we have credible intelligence that says, here is a facility where they are developing nuclear weapons, I am not against using a military action to neutralize that facility, to bomb that facility. I said I am not in favor of invading and occupying the country. I don't want to do that, but I do want to use our might to prevent a nuclear weapon from being developed in a potential hostile part of the world. I don't want to wait for them to launch it and watch millions of people die and then retaliate. If we can simply and decisively and surgically remove that kind of threat, then that's what we need to do. And that's what Americans want. They don't want their leaders to sit by and watch an atomic bomb be built by Iran and wait for them to drop it in an American city and then do something. We can act preventively to protect ourselves. But I don't want to build an empire. I want to end the wars in Iraq and Iran. I want to bring our troops home from Western Europe and Japan. I want national defense to be the top priority of the federal government, but I want to spend a lot less money through the Defense Department because I think it's all a bunch of pork.
Well,
I think
Peter,
most of the stuff that we're doing
Peter, that's all.
is less safe.
I mean, that's very eloquently said. The issue is we have a federal government that lied to us about WMDs in Iraq premeditatedly, yellow cake, aluminum tubes. So we've seen all this before, and now
Remember, Alex, I was against in real time going into Iraq. I criticized the President Bush for going into Iraq.
No, Peter, I understand that. What I'm trying to get across to you, and I know you're a smart guy, but for the audience to hear this as well, is that now we have a lot of Republicans coming out saying Afghanistan is Obama's war. We have the head of the Republican Party, Steele, saying that. We have Rohrabacher saying that most House Republicans think we shouldn't have gone to Iraq now. I'm just simply saying that I think Ron Paul's right about Iran, and even if they were to get a nuclear weapon, which their system is peaceful, that if they were to attack us, we turn them into a glass parking lot. We don't just sit there and say, well, just because we think you're developing a nuke, we're going to blow your factory up. Now, again, I understand you wouldn't be the president if you were in the Senate. And certainly the system is ignoring you or attacking you, so that shows that they don't want you to be senator. That's why I've got you here and I support you. I'm just telling you that I will probably be attacked, for saying Peter Schiff is better than these other candidates. And so I was putting that out there on the table because I am against attacking Iran. I am against preemptive strikes on countries.
Peter wants to invade invade Iran. I don't want to attack Iran. The question was, if we knew for sure that they were developing a nuclear weapon, would I be in favor of stopping that from happening? And the answer is yes. I don't think a nuclear Iran is something that we should allow. Now, Ron Paul's position is, look, the Soviet Union had all these nukes, and they didn't fire them because they were more rational, all right? The terrorists are not rational. They're willing to die for a cause. They don't care if we fire back. It's not like mutually assured destruction. They don't care if they get destroyed. And so if we're going to say, okay, yes, I think we should take action if we know for sure that they're developing a nuclear weapon. Obviously, they're developing it to use it. So
But Peter, we have a government. We have a government that lied to us.
If somebody doesn't want to support me, and they'd rather have Linda McMahon or they'd rather have Dick Blumenthal, who are going to be far, far worse, who are going to be for preemptive wars, they're going to help destroy this country. See, that's the thing. You're never going to find a candidate that you can agree with on 100% of the issues. If you find somebody that you agree with 99 out of 100, you're going to say, oh, here's one thing I disagree with. Oh, I'm not going to support him at all. I mean, that's crazy.
No, I agree with you, but Peter, you're a well-spoken, intelligent guy who's made a lot of accurate predictions, and I'm only saying that with the grassroots, with the Ron Paul base, I think you would have seen the type of Rand Paul level support if you wouldn't have made that hawkish statement. But I understand your view. I don't agree with it because I can't believe this government to give accurate intelligence. And I agree with Ron Paul on his view about the fact that if we actually tried to be friends with Iran, a government we've overthrown before, and worked with the softliners like they had 5 years ago, instead of always trying to start a war with them, that this even wouldn't be an issue. And
well, I'll tell you one thing, though. I would tell you one thing. If I was going to take the position that a nuclear Iran was okay with me, then there'd be no point in my even asking for volunteers because I couldn't win in the state of Connecticut. So if I actually adopted that position, it wouldn't matter how many people worked for my campaign, I couldn't get elected. So people have to decide, is there enough positive things? I want to go there and shut down the government. I want to stop the deficit spending. I want to restore sanity. I don't want to see this country collapse, and that's what I'm going to do. And if people are going to say, "Gee, Peter's some kind of warmonger," I mean, if you think I'm going to Washington to start a war, I mean, you're crazy.
Well, Peter, nobody. Look, I'm not saying that, and
I know, but I know there were some people that did, and your implication is, "Gee, I would have had a lot more support if it wasn't for that." Well, if I'd have answered, if I'd have come out for what they want, as I said, there'd be no reason to support me because I couldn't win. And so, what do we want? A hollow victory? Do you want?
Well, I think the statement is, if Iran developed nuclear weapons and there was provable intelligence that they were going to try to deploy it, and we're putting out rhetoric like they would use it, then, and I think people would understand that more than just saying blow the place up. But I understand.
I didn't say blow the place up. I didn't say blow the country up. You blow up the facility, drop leaflets, tell people get out of there.
No, I was just reading your quote. No, I understand. I understand you're saying the place with the weapons, but I was quoting just blow the place up. I don't mean Iran.
Yeah, it's weird, and that's if we know that they're there. It's I'm trying to do the absolute minimum, and then there are people that say, oh, no, we don't even want to do that. We want to wait until Iran actually drops the nuclear weapon, smuggles it into a major American city, murders millions of people, and then we'll respond. That is not the credible policy for a Senate candidate, I don't think.
Peter, let's
vote for me, and I'll allow a nuclear weapon to be blown up in your backyard. I don't think that's the path to victory.
I'm not saying. Well, look.
But believe me, that's what my opponents would say if that was my position.
No, I understand. I was just getting the issue out there because, I mean, as you know, that was raised quite a bit. And so I hope you beat those other candidates. That's why we've got you here. I mean, I think you'd be a great guy to really push through the audit of the Fed, and I'd love to see you grilling them in banking committee meetings. It'd be wonderful, and I think you've got a shot at it, so people should certainly support. I just would be remiss if I didn't raise that. Let's jam in a few calls here, and then at the end, I want to ask you about your view on the Arizona situation and the borders. Let's talk to Ken in California. Go ahead, Ken. You're on the air.
Oh, hi. Thank you, Alex. This is my question. Walmart had record profits for several years, and they got sued by counties all over the United States because they would provide no health insurance for 90% of their workers. Then, after this health care bill came out, all these lawsuits have been disappeared or dropped. And here's my question. Would you be willing to write a bill that overturns the health care bill And would you be willing to, like, investigate a company like Walmart that has caused all this debt to these counties because they're making their workers go to the county?
Walmart's had unfair trade advantage with its inside deals with China. That's where the issue is. What would you do with health care, Peter Schiff?
Well, first of all, writing a bill to repeal it is useless at this point because it's not going to get passed and Obama's not going to sign it. What I want to do is defund it. I want to lead the filibuster in the Senate against raising the debt ceiling. That's something that I can do, and if I can convince 40 other Republicans to stand with me and refuse to sign an increase